Okay, so I'm going to come around my metal garage here. And so this whole area back here is kind of where you see the biggest difference from last year, in that I planted out these mulch, I guess, islands. I mean, some of the plants were already here, but I've kind of, came in and mulched them. But over here, so I have some tropicals. And the Czech fruits is actually in a good spot because it's got the protection of the metal garage. It gets the southern sun during the winter, and has an overstory protection from that privacy fence. So kind of in a nice microclimate. So it seemed to rock and roll right through last winter without any damage from the cold snaps. We don't typically have fruiting jackfruit in the Tampa Bay area, but I'm optimistic that we can get this one fruiting. And then right here, so you may recognize this as a plant that you've seen on people's desk. So it's known as a money tree, but in a food forest situation, we call it the Malabar Chestnut. And so this will produce a seed pod that produces, I guess, I don't know if you classify it as a nut or seed, but anyways, that seed or nut is edible. And then you may notice there I have a coconut. I have another coconut in here. And so I went fishing down in Naples, and there was coconuts everywhere. And coconuts do not do well in Tampa Bay because they're not very cold tolerant. But I figured, hey, why not give it a shot? This one may be rotten because it's been there for a while, and none of the other ones popped up. So I'll be going down there again fishing soon, and I'm going to see if I can't get one that's. Sometimes you can find coconuts with the palm already sprouting out. So either way, I'll test it out. Right here is my Barbados Cherry. It's grown for me. It's producing more foliage, but it's not really. I think it should have produced by now. So I'm thinking, once it gets itself more established, hopefully I can expect to get it to produce. I've seen flowers on it, but I think I've only pulled off 1 or 2 cherries from it. And so I guess over here we can call this my mulberry funland. I got 3 big mulberries. So this first one is the white echo, and so there's a benefit to having a mulberry that produces a white fruit, and that's the birds don't seem to spot it as easily. So I was able to eat most of the fruit off of this mulberry tree. And so we'll go right here behind it is the Pakistan. So this has really shot up for me. I think I've had this like a year and a half, and it may have been waist high when I bought it. I got maybe 1 or 2 mulberries off of it, so just standing by for it to become more established and to produce more. But it's a purple raspberry, and I will say it wasn't as good. And I will say for those that you wonder what a white mulberry tastes like, white mulberry actually is really good. My wife didn't care for it as much, but I really like them. And so I'm glad the birds couldn't find it. But over here, I've shown this before. So this was like knee high, I think, in my first video that I did. And so this right here is just a native, mulberry I found at the side of the road. Broke some cuttings, off the parent tree. I broke some, just some branches off of it, came home and stuck them in the ground, and this is the only one that was able to propagate from those cuttings. And so, 2 years ago it was like knee high, but you can look and see how thick the trunk is. So it's doing really well, really, got a lot of foliage here. So really happy with how well that's done. And didn't produce heavily, but I'm expecting it to produce. It's the mother tree had a lot of berries on it, and the berries were really good. So yeah, I expect good things from this as it gets larger. So and then this planting over here, so I kind of just filled it up with various things. Like you can see there's like 3 papayas there. So those are all volunteers that came out of my compost. So I went ahead and just threw them in here. Because being that like the squirrels are finding them, and we kind of have some pest pressure, and I'll show you on this papaya back here. I figured, well, I might probably just need to grow a bunch of papaya, and maybe I can at least get some out of all that I've grown. Because we actually harvested a lot of papayas last year, but just for some reason the bugs and the squirrels were going after the ones this year, and we haven't been able to harvest one papaya yet. So this right here is a Peruvian apple cactus, and so the fruit, I've seen pictures of what the fruit looks like, where if you cut it in half, it looks pretty much like what a dragon fruit looks like. It's supposed to taste better than dragon fruit, but it is a member of the cactus family, just like your dragon fruit. So it's not surprising that the fruit looks similar. But I have seen on the Florida Food Forest Facebook group pictures of mature Peruvian apple cactuses producing a lot of fruit. But they're much taller, and they branch out. So I've probably got a while before this is producing for me. So this over here is something I'm kind of proud of. It's unique in the fact that, I have a coworker, he's from Puerto Rico. And so he went back home to Puerto Rico, and there was a lemon tree that he likes. And he got some seeds from it because, he liked the lemon so much, and brought them home and was able to get one of the trees to start. And then he air layered, saw a YouTube video on air layering and wanted to try it, and he had a successful air layer from that tree that he grew from seed. And so this is that air layered tree. So I call this the Jose after my friend. And here it is as a small tree. It's already got a lot of lemons on it. And so I think it's going to be a pretty good tree. When you pull the leaves off, because there's been some pest pressure, like right here, I'm not sure exactly what causes this, but I'll pull that kind of stuff off. But when you pull that off, the leaves have a very good smell to them. And so unlike my wild lemons that I have, so just unique plant here, and it's its own variety, so it's the Jose. Right here is a stone fruit rootstock for Florida. And so what happened here is that I had a Scarlet Beauty plum, and it failed, but it was on this rootstock. So the rootstock succeeded. It shot out from under the graft. And so although the graft failed, this rootstock was growing. So I figured, hey, that I'll go ahead and put this in the ground, and it may produce some peaches. But the great thing is that maybe I'll get some fruit out of it. But the kind of the biggest benefit of having this is that if I run across somebody with some stone fruit, whether it be peaches, plums, nectarines, or apricots even, I can take it and graft on to this rootstock. Now my plan is what I'll do is I'll air layer and get little trees off of this, and then as I need it, I'll graft on other stone fruit onto those air layered trees that I start off of this. So it'll be a source for providing me with the rootstock, and I'll even use the seeds for that purpose as well. Over here you got sweet almond. Down there they're good for producing lots of flowers and attracting in the pollinators. Here, this is a loquat or Japanese plum. that my aunt gave me from seed. It's doing pretty good. And then this right here is just this is a yellow flowering tree. I don't remember its name, but I'll just use it as a nitrogen fixer. And I've got a pineapple planted right there with it. Same thing here. This is also yellow flowering, nitrogen fixing. Different than the tree I just showed you. And it again, I threw a banana in there with it, and they seem to be good partners here. So actually, I'm gonna walk around this way. So right next to it, this is an ever-bearing mulberry, and so I just propagated this thing. So in Brandon, there's a lady that grows neem trees. She has I think it's called Neem Tree Farm, and she allows people to tour her yard on a certain Saturday of the month. I forget which. You probably need to look it up on her website, but and she gives cuttings and all that kind of stuff. So I got this cutting from this ever-bearing mulberry from her, and I just got it back probably in, I don't know, April, and it started, and it's already shot up. Here it is, end of July. Okay, this right here is my persimmon. Persimmon seems to be hanging in there. It's just kind of status quo. It's not dying. It doesn't it's just kind of hanging in there. And then here's that papaya that I was talking about. As you can see, a papaya, they kind of get to a certain size and they fall off, and they get some type of, I'll show you if I can find it. You can see the hole right there. Some type of, I need to look it up, but some type of moth or something's laying eggs, and the larvae go in there and just tear it up, and then it ends up falling off. So this thing was just covered in fruit, but they just kind of slowly fall off. So, and down there at the base you can see the Nepali cactus, which again I mentioned earlier, you can eat the pads on it. So over here I have an area that still yet to be conquered, but I do have some wild lemons in here. So included in this wild lemon, I grafted on Meyer Lemon here. So this is a Meyer Lemon, and it hasn't produced for me yet, but you can see the graft here. Just started out with a little teeny green twig, and it's really made a lot of progress, but no lemons. But there's tons of wild lemons on these. I think there's 3 trees, maybe 3 or 4 trees in here. So over here I have some Mexican sunflower, and then down here next to the papaya, this is a little citrus like the one up front that I grew from seed. I had this one in a pot on the porch for a longer period of time, so it's just not as big. And so that kind of, I'm a big believer in, once you get a little sapling started, just get it back in the ground and let it start growing, because the one up front is much bigger. Right next to it is a Macadamia Nut Tree. So this is a Queen Anne. So I got this for Christmas, probably best Christmas present ever from my wife. But so looking forward to that. I'm sure the squirrels will be after it, the nuts, once it starts producing. But I'm gonna have to figure out a way to protect it. Right here, this is my Jabot Acaba. Doing it over again, I probably would have started off with trying to get a red Jabot Acaba, and because they produce sooner. So this is just your, your typical purple Jabot Acaba, and this could be 10 to 15 years before it produces. So I still have yet to even taste one. But yeah, I'll wait patiently for this, and in the meantime, we'll be looking for a red one as well. And right here is my dwarf Cavendish right next to Jamaican Cherry. So this Jamaican Cherry's really just, when we had all the rain at the beginning of the summer, it really put out some fruit. And I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm going to make a pie from the cherries, So I'll do a video on that just so you can see, hey, is this worth, is it worth harvesting these cherries? Because before that, I was just treating this as, I come out here and just snack on them. Because my family didn't really care for them. And so I figured, hey, why not try making something from the fruit? And so we're going to make a pie from it. So over here, so I have no shame in my game. So this right here is a banana. So that some neighbors, they cleaned up their banana patch and threw them out by the road. And so I asked them, hey, can I have this? There was one that, had a bulb on it. So I asked them if I can have it, because, if it was a variety that I already have, then I wouldn't have, bothered. But I looked at it, and based on its characteristics, I was like, okay, I don't think I have this yet. So I planted it in the ground, and the original tree that I planted died, but this thing shot up, and this probably happened back in the spring, and this thing is just shot up like crazy. I can't figure out what variety it is, but all I knew is I didn't have it already, so I had to include it in. This is my Jatropha Circus, and I'm probably got that mispronounced, but as you can see, it is actually produced for me. So if you see this tree, you see that leaf, don't eat it because it's going to be poisonous. These happen to not be poisonous because this is a clone from, I think it goes back to Mexico. But you actually, if I grew these seeds, the plant would be poisonous. You actually have to clone this tree in order to get these. So we'll try these this year, and if I make it, then I'll make another video next year. So the last plant on my tour is dragon fruit. I planted this from seed, and it's been in the ground here for maybe sometime over a year, 2 years maybe. It's growing pretty good. The only thing is something kind of goes after it, so I spray it with neem oil. So if any of you are in Florida and have dragon fruit and have any pest issues and know what's attacking your dragon fruit, just let me know. You can put that in the comments. But actually, I'll show you some more damage down here. Let's see, and they don't seem to bother those spots anymore. And the dragon fruit heals pretty well, or the plant heals pretty well. I actually have another one right here, and I'm just using this dead tree trunk as a trellis. So instead of doing all the work to remove it, I'll use it for the dragon fruit. But here's another one here, and this one has way more damage, but pretty resilient plant, still alive. And if they happen to chew this in half, I can always you could stick whatever's alive in a pot and it'll grow. So but the other one's done much better, and again, I keep them sprayed with neem oil, and it seems to address whatever pest gets on here. So anyhow, that is my tour for this year, for 2021. If you have any questions or you have comments, you know more about this stuff than I do, please include those in the comment section. I'd really appreciate that feedback. And I do kind of some garden videos from time to time, and then I do put my home improvement projects on my channel. So subscribe if you want to see what I'm up to lately. Thanks for watching, and God bless.